It's the Deep Slant 101 presented by Xfinity. My guest this week, wide receiver Chad Hansen. Chad, I guess I have to start with the touchdown catch, first of all, your first career NFL touchdown. And I heard that on the sideline when you scored, there was pandemonium, like teammates running down the sideline, wanting to congratulate you, both offensive, defensive players. How cool was that moment for you and getting to celebrate it with your teammates like that?
Man, this is my fourth year in the league and my first NFL touchdown. So they knew how much it meant to me. And, it was just awesome being able to celebrate with everybody on the sideline going, you're out of breath because you've been celebrating on the field with your teammates. You come off and everybody mobs you. It's the best feeling in the world. It was awesome.
Deshaun said he was so excited for you as well. He said that he was just worried that you might run out of bounds first before you actually scored. So what was going through your head the whole time? I mean, that's a big moment for an NFL receiver. You had to wait a long time to get there. So was there nerves? What was going on in your mind?
Well, I think I'd played enough football over the first, 3 games there's no nerves. I knew what I was supposed to do. But they called that play, and I knew with the coverage that the Colts run, I saw the backside and the corner and the safety run with Brandon, and I knew I was going to be wide open, because I was just filling that void. But I was running across looking at Deshaun, and he wasn't looking at me. He was looking at Brandon, and I was kind of worried. I was like, I've been running for kind of a while. So, yeah, he led me inside with the ball because I think I probably would have run out of bounds. But he led me back inside. I caught it and jogged into the end zone. It was one of the coolest feelings ever. Yeah.
All right. So where's the ball now? I imagine you're going to keep it forever and ever, but
Well, depending on when this airs, my girlfriend's birthday is today, so I wrapped it up in a box and she's gonna open it. So she's been with me through the full 4 years, moving around and throwing me tennis balls and being my trainer and all that stuff. So
we
she's gonna
actually
be
gave your
happy for that.
girlfriend a shout out on our pregame show because our producer, Tyler, saw that on TikTok. She didn't get a shout out for being the one to drive you to all those off-season practices with Deshaun. So we felt like we had to give her some credit.
Yeah, she wanted. That's funny. I know the video you're talking about. Yeah, she wanted that shout out. I didn't give it to her. She was kind of upset.
I think we're
Yeah.
two now for her. So hopefully
Yeah.
that makes up for it a little bit. So let's talk about that off season because I think that's probably one of the most talked about things every time we talk about you and how good you looked in training camp. It kind of went back to the off season about how you followed Deshaun around different states. You worked out with him. What was that like? Because do you ask Deshaun like, hey, where are you going to be? And you sync up with him. How was that plan made? And then how did you decide that you're going to go with him to different locations and throw the ball with him?
Well, last year I was on the practice squad all year, so I didn't really have that good of a relationship with him. And I knew going into the next season that if I wanted to be, playing, I needed to have a good relationship with Deshaun, because he's a starting quarterback and you need, the receiver quarterback trust is the biggest thing that you could have. So I knew that was a big thing. So I would hit him up, hey, what are you thinking about? When are you throwing or, what you're doing? And he'd text me back where he was, what he's going to be doing, throwing. So, I just always made myself available and would fly, here because I trained in the off season in Southern California. But I would fly back here and throw with him, went to Arizona with him. So, just those reps before training camp were huge for me. And I obviously I hadn't had many reps with him the previous season, so getting on the same page, the timing and all that helped going into the season.
Yeah, and you mentioned being on the practice squad, so obviously you're not catching passes from Deshaun, and during those practices you're on scout team or you're working with second, third team quarterbacks. But what are sort of the things that you felt like you got better at? You mentioned timing and chemistry, but what's that conversation like with Deshaun when you're out there practicing? Like what he wants to see from you and what you need to give him to sort of get on the same page, like the way you guys are now.
Yeah, there's always a route drawn on the paper, a certain depth, a certain way to run it, but football is always changing and it's, reacting to how the defense plays. And that's really the biggest thing. And I think that's why him and Hop had such a good connection. They always knew each other was going to be, and I wanted that with me and Deshaun, and being able to talk to him, and seeing what he saw on different coverages, and just we talk about seeing the play through one set of eyes, and being the quarterback's eyes, and being able to be in the right spot at the right time.
I feel like I've heard the word confidence a lot with you this season. Tim
Mhm.
Kelly has mentioned it. Deshaun's mentioned it, that you're just playing with a lot of confidence. And I imagine that's got to be because you got those extra reps. But what is that like during the first part of the season when you've had so much work with him this offseason and in training camp? And then the first part of the season, most of the first part of the season, you're on the practice squad. And now
Mhm.
you're actually on the active roster. So do you fall back a little bit, or is it sort of like riding a bike that once you're back out there catching passes from him, it's you kind of pick up where you left off? What is that whole process like for you?
Yeah. The confidence definitely takes a blow when you're cut at the beginning of the season into training camp. And being on the practice squad, not getting as many reps in practice with the first team, and yeah, but I knew that once I got my opportunity, I would be ready because I knew I could play at this level. I knew I could play against anybody. So when I did get that shot against Indy, I wasn't nervous because, I mean, I think partly because, Deshaun is so, calm in the huddle. It kind of puts everybody at ease a little bit. So I know that I can go out and make plays, and him throwing me the ball shows me that he trusts me. And so, I just make the plays that come to me. That's all I can do. So, I think that confidence snapped right back once I stepped on the field for the first time.
I think a lot of people don't know your journey into the NFL. Obviously, you've been with the Texans for the last 2 seasons. So you were on the
Mhm.
practice squad in 2019 and practice squad until you were on the active roster this year. But walk us through, if you can, what it's been like for you getting into the NFL and how many different teams you've been through for those first 2 or 3 seasons that you were in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a long journey, but so I was drafted to the Jets in 2017. Played there for a year, actually with Josh McCown. Josh McCown was my quarterback there. It's kind of funny, but so I was released my second year after training camp there. Claimed the first week to the Patriots. Was there with the Patriots for 2 weeks on the active roster. Was released there. Picked up by the Tennessee Titans probably a couple weeks later. Was with Tennessee for a month, released there, um, and then picked up by Denver's practice squad probably around week 8 of 2018. Finished out the season there. Went through all of OTAs with Denver. Was released there in the spring of 2019. Um, was picked up onto the roster, like the off-season roster by the Saints. Um, Came in for training camp there. First day going through medicals and physicals and stuff. They brought me in the office, released me. So I was fortunately picked up here, I think 2 or 3 days later. So it was the fourth day of camp here. Picked up here last 2019 training camp, and then I've been here ever since.
It really is a case of perseverance. I mean, you cannot be an impatient person to go through this process and what you've been through. I was looking at your college career. It seems like it sort of mirrored that a little bit. Like you just have this perseverance in you, right? Because you grew up in California. You wanted to go to school in California, but even that was a little bit of a winding road, was it not? You started off at Idaho State, and then tell me about that and how you ended up back in California again.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of matured late, so I was kind of behind the curve in high school a little bit. I didn't really have a great high school career until my senior year. So I had a good senior year in high school, one of the better conferences in high school conferences in California. My only offer was to Idaho State, and that was late in the recruiting process. I think pretty close to signing day. So I didn't really know what I was gonna do. I got a full ride there, so I decided that was probably best. That was a school that wanted me. I went there. Started my freshman year. Had a good year. I think 500 yards. but I knew that I wouldn't be happy there if I knew or not um, trying at least to play at a higher level, because I thought, playing against some of the kids in high school that went to the highest level, I thought that I would be able to play there. So that spring, after my freshman year at Idaho State, I decided to start putting out emails to, transfer. And so went through that whole process. That was kind of a terrible process, honestly. It kind of sucks, but thankfully I found a home in Cal. Walked on at Cal. Um, had to redshirt, and then played a little bit my second year behind some of the receivers that we had with Jared Goff. And then my redshirt junior year is when I was able to have a breakout season and play with Davis Webb. So it was kind of a crazy journey there. Like you were saying, a little bit of perseverance and not giving up, but it's definitely worthwhile. So.
Well, here you are on the active roster, and I think that Romeo Crennel's been asked about it the last few weeks, especially after your first game against Indy, about putting you on the 53-man roster, because the way things are right now through COVID, you get placed on the active roster for game day, then you revert back to the practice squad. So you have this fantastic game against the Colts here at NRG Stadium, and then you go back to the practice squad, and then you're brought up again against the Bears, and you go back down to practice squad. Well, now you're actually on the active roster because, you've shown that consistency. So what is that like for you? I can't imagine being in the league for 4 years and waiting this long to have that opportunity, but does it feel any different? I mean, the only thing I can compare it to is like when I had an internship and I finally got a full-time job at a company, and I felt like when I walked in the door, things were just a little bit different, even though it really wasn't. But can you describe what the feeling's like for you now, just being on the active roster?
I think that's probably a good analogy, internship to a full job offer. But um, yeah, I'd say it's a little bit different, as in, you have that trust, you have a little bit of um, you kind of know that you're going to be here for a little bit, instead of, being on the practice squad. It's kind of like a week to week thing. Um, but yeah, signing to the active roster is a big thing for me, because I haven't signed to an active roster since my first year, 3 years ago. So that was a cool moment for me and my family, and just the culmination of a lot of hard work and perseverance, and just staying with it.
Well, we've been really excited to watch your journey from practice squad to active roster to your first active game to your first touchdown. So there's a little bit of season left. How do you hope to build on what you've started so far and get even better now for the future?
Yeah, well, I just want to continue to have that trust from the coaching staff, from the front office, from uh, anything that happens in the off season. It's kind of up in the air right now. Nobody really knows what's going on. So I just want to put good stuff on film, so I can go out there and I'm not just a flash in the pan, 3 weeks, good games, and that's it. I want to show that I can be consistent and continue to do what I've shown that I can do and that I know I can do. So that I have that consistency that this league really is looking for.
All right, we can't wait to see it. Thank you so much for the time. A pleasure speaking with you. Chad Hansen on the Deep Slant, presented by Xfinity. Thanks so much, Chad.
Yeah, thanks for having me.